Alright, fun fact. I have not played this level in... well, maybe since I've done the last Pacifist run. So I certainly haven't played it as Zero in a long time. Now, as a Pacifist run, this level is not very... well, we'll just say Pacifist friendly. The boss rushes never are. So... we'll talk a little bit about the bosses and a little bit about some other stuff in the process, because you already, for the most part, know how to handle some of these bosses. So as we go through this channel, we're going to be experimenting a little. I want to hear insight from you. Typically, we don't get a lot of comments when it comes to requests like these, but I'm going to ask anyway, because every comment counts. Do you prefer these to be with or without commentary? This is the first question. I have the raw files. I can make them into just no commentary runs. It is an option. But I wanted to ask that first because usually the people that don't like commentary won't last too far in on some of these. But the other thing is, do you want me to redo some of these Pacifist runs? I know several of them are 10 or more years old. Almost all of them are 10 or more years old, to be honest. And some of them are at 360p, 480p. We can obviously put this at a 1080p, probably pretty soon, maybe even a 4K. Just let me know what you are looking for going forward with this channel. What some of your favorite parts have been, whether it's this particular run, maybe this video is, in this video series, is what's brought you to the channel. If not, and if you've been a long time listener, since we've been doing this for more than a decade, you know, what some of your favorite videos are. I really would love to hear some of that stuff. In the meantime, I'm going to take a moment to talk about what's going on screen. Cyber Peacock's battle. I know he was part 2. I'm just trying to rush things on a little bit here. There's not too much to deal with. I don't feel in danger with these bosses. I've got heart tanks, and this is a fairly straightforward deal. And even more than that, they give you health and weapon energy, as if I need the weapon energy, in between battles. Still got to say I appreciate Magma Dragoon's design and fight. I would have loved if they had done more things like this with other Mavericks. Maybe some people consider it too fan servicey to have it similar to Ryu. But I don't mind. He's become iconic as a result. So definitely better than some other fire-themed Mavericks that like to burn things to the ground. So what's coming up next with this channel after this? Actually, to be really honest, I don't have a clearly defined plan. I know that from a non-Mega Man standpoint, we're going to be releasing, if we haven't already done so to this point, we're going to be releasing some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle content, whether that's Shredder's Revenge or the Cowabunga collection. We're going to have a few other things, maybe some analysis videos that we're looking at possibly trying. I know that by now we'll have had the video about 20XX. I'm hoping 30XX comes out for console soon, as I am not a PC gamer. So I can do a follow-up video with that. Maybe even something regarding Sonic Mania, a similar type video. Do you prefer, actually to that end, do you prefer playthroughs, whether they are normal playthroughs or challenge runs? Do you like these breakdown videos where we go like we did for 20XX when it comes to finding a game that is going to help you with the wait for Mega Man X? Which I'll go ahead and add something into a link for you to be able to click for that. So, Mega Man X4, I want to talk about that one a little bit. I know we're going back and forth, but again, this is the boss rush, so we've got a little bit of time. Mega Man X4, I appreciate the game. I know a lot of people think that it's too easy. I feel like this was a great transition into the Saturn PlayStation era, moving away from the 16-bit, away from the Super Nintendo era, which was a successful one. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the games I played there were very entertaining, especially the Mega Man ones. But I enjoyed a lot more than X5 and X6. I think X6 has some design issues, and I certainly enjoy it more than X7 and X8. I don't consider X8 to be as bad as X7. Just X7 was difficult for me to finish, to make myself finish, not because of difficulty, just because of frustration. But the thing I appreciate here is they did a great job of introducing Zero as a more regular character. Although I do prefer being able to switch back and forth like you can with X5 through X8. And they did a good job with these new Mavericks, the music, making the fights pretty entertaining like this one. And it does a good job of making you feel powerful. I think that's something that I appreciate about games that are higher up on the scales for me, such as Mega Man 9, X1, X4. You feel more powerful as you go along. X1 is actually why, this exact reason is part of why I actually have X1 as my favorite Mega Man game. The progression, the character and power progression for X is highlighted and fairly clear that you are not strong enough in the beginning. And you have Zero to use as your measuring stick. But once you actually go through the levels, gain the dash, optionally gain the other piece of armor and your weapons, it shows you how much you've grown. And you've got versatility with the different weapons, and it's a huge difference. It also helps that the level design and the music were excellent. It's still music that I use to study sometimes. Gotta hear though, what was your favorite Mega Man game? Or whether it is a classic game, an X game, Battle Network, whatever have you. For me, it is, I'm gonna say X1. It's probably first. And then Mega Man 2, and I already hear the complaints because apparently it's faux pas to have Mega Man 2 as one of your favorite games, but it is nostalgic for me. It is not a perfect game. There are some design issues in there. I fully acknowledge that. But Mega Man 2 is just, I grew up on it. It was the game that, besides Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, when I came up with in the NES days, it is the game that I used to learn my skills with video gaming. I failed many times. I definitely, as a 4, 5, 6-year-old, did not enjoy Quick Man's levels or Heat Man's levels and having to learn the pattern. But being able to learn the pattern was quite the accomplishment for me. So, and other things became easier as a result. Oddly enough, I will say my first actual being stumped with that game was the beginning of the Wily levels, where you had to climb over a certain point, and I had not experienced anything like that with the Mega Man games, so I assumed I must have been missing something or not ready. But then again, I was a little kid, so whatever. But I like Mega Man 9, moving on. I appreciate Mega Man 9's attempt to go back, but also give you weapons that were extremely powerful. Not metal blade powerful, but powerful enough that you could be versatile with your options. The Jewel Shield is absolutely a bit broken. Speaking of breaking things, we have Jet Stingray, where you can get him caught in a loop fairly easily. And I'm just showing some of the different ways. I know I fought him with the ability to do this before. He's not as tough when you know what you can do with his AI and his pattern. But I gotta say, when it comes to the Mega Man games, I don't think there's a game in there that I have disliked when it comes to the classic series. When it comes to the X series, which I actually prefer to the classic series, I've got to say that it's got higher highs and lower lows. I enjoyed 1 and 4 immensely, and 7 was one of my least favorite games. Maybe for disappointment reasons. Alright, so we're at Sigma now. Finally, it's something new, so we can keep going. I'm skipping the cutscene because the video is going to be long enough already. I actually hope I had not faced him or done a practice run coming up to this point. But I remembered enough about how Zero works that you can pretty much stay in one spot for phase 1 and just do your uppercut, and he's not going to really be a threat if you just time when you do your uppercut. You do the uppercut twice, then he appears on one side of the screen, and you air dash, and that's really it for phase 1. Nothing too tough. Phase 2, which we're not at yet, but I'm going to take some time to explain it because it'll take a little time, is a little more complicated. So he's going to come out with that scythe, and he's going to throw it once. You go in the opposite direction to avoid it, and then depending on where you are at when he throws it the second time, it'll hit the wall, which we're doing here, and you can get a few free pot shots against him, or it'll hit the floor, and you got to dodge his shoulder blades, his 4 shoulder blades. I don't appreciate dodging those as much, so especially when you don't have the floor to use. So I just use the wall. It's a fairly straightforward pattern, really easy. If I do have a complaint, it is that the first 2 forms are a little too formulaic to the point where you don't have to put a lot of effort into it. The last one, however, that's a little tougher. I'm sure there's easier ways to do it, but when it comes to Zero, there's a lot of spikes involved and some wind physics that get a little weird. My goal with the giant head is to go close enough to the right side wall that he tries to suck in all the air and then blow you into the spikes. Or actually, the other way around, where he will try to blow you into the spikes. That way you can just dash, not worry about debris, and go ahead and take him out. Well, that doesn't always work out. The closer you get to the wall, yeah, there we go. This is a good example of that. You get a few free hits in, you're not in too much danger. Otherwise, if you're doing the one where he tries to suck you in, it's a lot more difficult to avoid all the debris. When it comes to the giant, I don't even know what this is. This giant mech with a face that I can't even properly read because it looks like there's 2 or 3 different faces in there. Just double jump when you can and hit him when you can. You're going to knock this one out before you knock the other one out, probably. When it comes to those transition stages, for the blue head, just get on top and wail away. And when it gets to the the yellow one, you're going to have to just dodge as much as you can. And for the red one, take it out before it gets a chance to really assault you. Really, the game's not too bad. That's one phase down, but you gotta take out two, and they don't share a life bar. The blue is definitely the easiest to deal with. Alright, one more hit should do it. Well, you know what I'm going to say next. If you like what you see here, and you want to see more of it, just give me a like. Please subscribe. I really do appreciate every single one of your comments. I read each one. So feel free to comment, and I will catch you later.